Under the ghostly stage lights of the John F. Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., the world did not just witness a lottery. We witnessed the violent opening act of a new era. As the legendary Andrea Bocelli's voice pierced the darkness with the immortal aria Nessun Dorma, the message was terrifyingly clear. None shall sleep. It was not merely a song, but a prophecy. A warning to every nation entering this arena that there will be no peace, no rest, and no mercy for those carrying the heavy burden of hope. In that surreal moment, the lines between fantasy and reality blurred. We saw FIFA President Gianni Infantino declare football as the ultimate provider of happiness, only for that sentiment to immediately collide with the complexities of the real world, as the first FIFA Peace Prize was handed to Donald Trump. It was the perfect metaphor for the beautiful game, a place where we seek escape, yet where the chaos of life always finds a way to follow us. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. While the humans on stage wrestled with the weight of history, outside the theater, the cold logic of Opta's supercomputer was already rewriting the script. The machine issued a ruthless decree. Spain is the chosen one with a 17% chance of glory, leaving France and England trailing behind. But if history has taught us anything, it is that football is the one place where mathematics goes to die. The computer sees percentages, but we see destiny. And that destiny has now been cast into 12 groups of death and dreams. Before we dissect the bloodbath that awaits in these groups, please make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Your support fuels our passion to bring you these deep dive analyses, and trust me, you do not want to miss the journey we are about to embark on. The hand of fate has placed the hosts Mexico in Group A, a setting that feels less like a tournament bracket and more like a spiritual reunion. The ghosts of the Azteca Stadium are awakening, the very ground where Pelé and Maradona became immortal, and Mexico must now channel that energy against a South African side that brings memories of the 2010 opener rushing back. However, the true danger lies in the opposition's diversity. They face the relentless, military-grade discipline of South Korea led by the iconic Son Heung-min, whose unyielding spirit contrasts sharply with Mexico's artistic flair. Adding to the tension is a European playoff winner, potentially Denmark, the Czech Republic, or the Republic of Ireland, teams defined by structure and quality. In this clash of emotion versus discipline, we predict that the home advantage of Mexico and the sheer tactical rigor of South Korea will secure them the 2 spots in the next round. Moving north to Group B, Canada steps into the spotlight as co-hosts, but they are walking into a trap set by the masters of pragmatism, Switzerland. The Swiss are cold, efficient, and famously indifferent to the romance of a host nation. The group is further complicated by Qatar, the Asian champions desperate to prove they are not just a team on paper and a lurking European monster from the playoffs. If Italy navigates their path past Northern Ireland or Wales, they will bring a defensive scythe to this group. Here, sentimentality will likely be punished. We predict the tournament pedigree of Switzerland and the defensive mastery of Italy, should they qualify, will suffocate Canada's youthful enthusiasm and Qatar's ambition. In Group C, we find a narrative of fire and ice. Brazil, led by Carlo Ancelotti, enters with a deceptive 5.6% chance from the supercomputer, a number that feels like an insult to the 5-time champions. They face a group that looks manageable on the surface but is riddled with traps. Morocco, the heroes of 2022, lie in wait, representing the burning ambition of Africa, while Scotland brings a tragic history of brave failures, facing Brazil for the 5th time at a World Cup. Completing the quartet is Haiti, given a microscopic 0.03% chance by Opta, returning for the first time since 1974 to fight for pure pride. Despite the romance of the underdogs, the gulf in quality is vast. Expect the samba rhythm of Brazil and the iron will of Morocco to overpower the grit of Scotland and the heart of Haiti to advance. Finally, for this segment, we look at the immense pressure cooker of Group D. The United States enters with the weight of an entire political and sporting infrastructure on their shoulders. Mauricio Pochettino knows that failure is not an option, yet the draw has been unkind. They face Paraguay, the archetype of South American toughness, and an Australian side under Tony Popovic, known for being stubbornly difficult to break down. The final piece of the puzzle is a European playoff winner like Turkey or Slovakia, who could dictate the group's difficulty. This will be a war of attrition, but we believe the individual quality of the United States and the sheer physical resilience of Paraguay will ultimately see them through. Now, considering the clash between the romance of the draw and the coldness of the prediction models, I want to hear your thoughts on the biggest potential upset in these opening groups. Based on the groups we just analyzed, which host nation is in the most danger of being eliminated in the group stage? Option A. Mexico. The pressure of the Azteca and the discipline of South Korea will be too much. Option B. Canada. The inexperience of youth will crumble against European heavyweights like Switzerland and Italy. Leave your choice, A or B, in the comments below. And let's debate who survives the opening round. As we venture deeper into the draw, we leave behind the romance of the host nations and step into the domain of the fallen giants and rising empires. This is where history weighs heaviest, beginning with Group E, a theater of speed and physical brutality that threatens to derail a superpower in transition. Germany, a nation Opta gives a 7.1% chance of reclaiming the throne, is currently a machine being rebuilt on the fly. They arrive in a group that seems designed to test not their tactical intelligence, but their sheer physical durability. They must survive the Ivory Coast and Ecuador, two nations that represent the pinnacle of athleticism. The elephants of Africa and the South American powerhouses do not just play football, they impose themselves on it. It is a collision between the fragile, developing philosophy of the new German generation and the raw, relentless power of their opponents. While Curacao enters as a fairy tale debutante, bringing pure joy to the tournament, the reality of the World Cup is rarely kind to Cinderella stories. In this test of endurance, we expect the pedigree of Germany to prevail, but they will likely be joined by Ecuador, whose combination of technical grit and physical dominance feels perfectly suited to survive this war of attrition. The psychological shadows lengthen as we move to Group F, the home of the eternal runner-up. The Netherlands enters this tournament haunted not by opponents, but by their own history of falling short when the trophy is within reach. Fate has placed them in a tactical minefield. Their primary antagonist is Japan, a team that embodies the discipline of the samurai, fused with lethal counter-attacking speed. This is a fascinating clash of ideologies, the modern evolution of Dutch total football against the organized chaos of Japan. It promises to be a masterclass in strategy, where a single lapse in concentration could be fatal. Looming in the background is Tunisia, a North African side that thrives on frustrating superior opponents, and a hardened European playoff winner, potentially Ukraine or Sweden, ready to punish any mental fragility. However, logic dictates that class eventually tells. We predict that the Netherlands will conquer their demons to top the group, with Japan's tactical superiority securing them the second spot in a group defined by intellect over emotion. In Group G, the tone shifts from anxiety to melancholy. This is the stage for the last dance of Belgium's golden generation. The squad that promised so much for a decade is now aging, their window of opportunity closing with every passing second. While they should have enough quality to navigate the group stages, the question is whether the fire still burns bright enough to go further. They are surrounded by veterans of the World Cup stage who know exactly how to exploit aging legs. Egypt, led by the evergreen Mohamed Salah, possesses the singular explosive talent to dismantle any defense, while Iran brings a defensive structure that is notoriously difficult to break down. New Zealand will fight with commendable spirit, but they lack the firepower to trouble the elite. In this group of fading stars and stubborn defenders, we foresee Belgium squeezing through on experience, likely accompanied by Egypt, as the brilliance of Salah proves to be the difference maker in tight contests. Finally, we arrive at Group H, where the spotlight burns brightest. This is the domain of Spain, the computer's chosen one. The team carrying the crushing expectation of a 17% probability of victory. But the algorithm cannot calculate pain, and that is exactly what awaits them, in the form of Uruguay. This is the ultimate stylistic clash, the hypnotic, fluid passing of La Roca crashing against the jagged, unyielding rock of Gara Charrua spirit. Uruguay does not care for possession statistics, they play to win battles, and they will test the physical resolve of Spain's young virtuosos. The group is further complicated by Saudi Arabia, the giant killers who famously humbled Argentina in 2022, and the high-energy pressing of Cape Verde. Spain must prove they are not just artists, but warriors. Despite the treacherous nature of these opponents, the quality of this Spanish side is undeniable. We predict Spain will advance, but they will be battle-hardened by a second-place Uruguay side that will ensure the favorites earn every single inch of their progress. If the previous groups were tests of endurance or strategy, Group 1 represents a collision of gods, the undisputed heavyweight division of this World Cup draw. This is the group where the term Group of Death feels entirely appropriate, not just because of the quality of the teams, but because of the sheer violence of the narratives involved. France, the 2022 runners-up with a 14.1% chance of redemption, arrives led by Kylian Mbappe, a man who has already conquered the world once. However, fate has been cruel to Les Bleus, pitting them against the one force of nature capable of eclipsing their star power, Erling Haaland and Norway. This is the blockbuster matchup the world has been waiting for, a duel between the blistering speed of Mbappe and the robotic, terrifying efficiency of Haaland. Norway is not just a one-man army. With Martin Odegaard pulling the strings, they are predicted to be the tournament's dark horse, bringing a blend of physicality and precision that could stun the favorites. But the danger in Group 1 does not end with the European giants. Senegal, the Lions of Africa, lie in wait, ready to turn every match into a physical brawl. They represent a grueling test of fitness and resolve, ensuring that whoever escapes this group will do so with bruises and scars. While the final spot, likely filled by a playoff team like Iraq or Bolivia, adds color, the story here is the war at the top. In this battle of titans, we predict that the sheer depth of France will see them through, joined by Norway, whose overpowering offensive weaponry will likely prove too much for the rest to handle. From the physical brutality of Group 1, we travel to the psychological warfare of Group L, a setting defined by trauma and the thirst for revenge. For England, this is not just a group stage. It is an opportunity to exorcise a ghost that has haunted them since 2018. They are drawn against Croatia, the wily chessboard army that broke English hearts in the World Cup semi-finals in Moscow. This is a clash of narratives. The youthful, high-octane energy of England under Thomas Tuchel against the timeless, cynical wisdom of a Croatian side that simply refuses to age. The narrative of redemption is thick in the air, but looking past the headlines, Ghana presents a formidable challenge of pure athleticism and resilience, while Panama adds an element of unpredictability. Yet in major tournaments, experience and quality usually dictate the outcome. England possesses the firepower to finally settle the score, and we predict they will top the group, with Croatia's masterclass in game management securing them the second spot, leaving the rest of the group to wonder what might have been. Finally, the noise of the tournament fades into a reverent silence as we enter the domain of the living gods. The stage is set for the final glorious curtain calls of the two men who have defined this sport for a generation. In Group J, we find the defending champion, Argentina. Despite the computer giving them a modest 8.7% chance of retaining their crown, fate has seemingly rolled out a red carpet for Lionel Messi in his unprecedented 6th World Cup appearance. On paper, a group containing Austria, Algeria, and Jordan looks less like a battlefield and more like a procession. Austria brings European discipline, and Algeria offers the spirited resistance of North Africa, while Jordan enters as an Asian underdog hoping for a miracle. However, there is a hidden danger in such comfort. This group threatens to be a lullaby that puts the giant to sleep before the real war begins. Without a true heavyweight to test their sharpness early on, Argentina risks entering the knockout rounds untested and brittle. Yet, class is permanent. We predict Argentina will stroll through as group winners, likely joined by Austria, whose structural organization should prove superior to the raw emotion of Algeria and Jordan. Adjacent to them, in Group K, lies the theater for the other half of this eternal rivalry. This is the stage for Cristiano Ronaldo's final stand. At 40 years old, the Portuguese legend leads a squad with a 6.6% chance of glory, but he faces a far more treacherous path than his Argentine counterpart. Group K is a minefield. While Uzbekistan brings the unknown energy of a debutant and the playoff winner, likely Jamaica, adds flair, the true monster lurking in the shadows is Colombia. The South Americans are the ultimate dark horse, capable of turning any match into a chaotic, high-speed shootout. For Portugal, this is not just about scoring goals. It is about proving they can carry the weight of Ronaldo's history without collapsing under it. He must be the lighthouse guiding the ship, not just the cannon firing at will. The clash between Portugal and Colombia will likely decide the group, and it promises to be an explosive affair. We believe the sheer depth of talent in this Portuguese golden generation will see them top the group, but they will be closely shadowed by a dangerous Colombia side that has the firepower to eliminate anyone on their day. The 12 groups are set, the 48 nations are aligned, and the script is waiting to be written. The supercomputer has spoken, giving us the cold, hard numbers of probability. But as the echoes of Nessun Dorma fade and the anthem Desire takes over, we are reminded of the only truth that matters. On the pitch, machines do not dream, but humans do. The stage is set for the greatest show on earth. And so, the map of the World Cup 2026 has been drawn. From the haunting area of Andrea Bocelli in Washington to the calculated prophecies of the Opta supercomputer, we have witnessed the prologue of a tournament that promises to be unlike any other. We have analyzed the treacherous paths awaiting the hosts in the Azteca and beyond. We have dissected the brutal physical wars facing Germany and the psychological demons haunting England and the Netherlands. We have looked into the eyes of the group of death where Mbappe and Haaland will collide, and we have prepared ourselves for the final, emotional waltz of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. The machine may point to Spain and the cold certainty of mathematics, but everything we have discussed today proves that football is written in the language of the unpredictable. The groups are set, the countdown has begun, and the only certainty left is that the world will be watching. If you enjoyed this comprehensive breakdown of the World Cup 2026 draw and want to stay ahead of every twist and turn in this journey, please smash that like button and share this video with your fellow football fanatics. Your support is the engine that keeps this channel running and allows us to bring you these deep dive documentaries. Make sure to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. Thank you for watching, and let the games begin.